Hello and welcome to this video refreshing you on how to calculate the slope of a line when you're given an equation. So here's a line for you. It's y equals 4x plus 3. This is an equation of a line because it has a y, it has an x, and it has no exponents. When you see that, then you know that you have a line. And this line is nicely solved for y. Whenever you have a line that's solved for y, we call it slope-intercept form. Intercept. It's in slope-intercept form. Often we call it y equals mx plus b. And you can kind of see it's y equals mx plus b because here we have the y solved by itself. Here we have a number with an x. And here we have a number off to the side. And so you'll see that it's y equals mx plus b. The m represents the slope of the line. So that number that's with the x, it's always with the x. That's the slope. And so in this line here, y equals 4x plus 3, 4 would be the slope. And the b, the number not with the x, is known as the y-intercept. And so in this equation, the y equals 4x plus 3, the y-intercept would be 3. So it's really nice to find the slope when you're given an equation. Step number 1, you should solve it for y. Get y by itself. Once y is by itself, you've got to find the number that's with the x. The number with the x, well, here it was a 4, so the slope is 4. The slope will be the number with the x, and the number not with the x, well, that's the b, and that will be the y-intercept. So let's do one more example here. Let's say we had 2y plus 8x equals 10. I know this is a line because there's a y and an x and no exponents, so that's cool. So I'm going to, first of all, solve the equation for y. Let's see, let's minus the 8x to both sides. When I do that, I get 2y equals negative 8x plus 10. Okay, y is still not by itself, so let's divide everything by 2. Divide by 2, I get y equals negative 4x plus 5. So now that it's solved for y, I can identify the slope and the y-intercept because now it's in y equals mx plus b form. The slope will always be the number with the x, so I would say my slope is negative 4. And the number not with the x is the y-intercept, so I'd say my y-intercept is 5. Okay, so now it's your turn to try 5 questions. Go ahead and pause the video now and work on these 5 and see what you can do on finding the slope of these lines. You should try to find the slope and the y-intercept. Go ahead and pause it now and unpause it when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, let's see how you did. The first one, again, we solved the equation for y. Y is already by itself, which is really nice, which means we can already find the slope. The slope is the value with the x, so the slope would be negative 7. And the y-intercept would be the value not with the x, so y-intercept is 13. On number 2, y is not by itself, so you're going to have to do some math here. We're going to add 20x to both sides, plus 20x. So I get 5y equals 30 plus 20x. Ooh, I'd like to write the x first. 20x plus 30, although it doesn't really matter. We then divide everything by 5. Divide by 5, divide by 5, divide by 5. So I get y equals 4x plus 6. So the answer for this one, the slope would be the number with the x, which is 4. And the y-intercept would be the number not with the x, so that would be 6. Let's try number 3. Here I need to divide by 3 to both sides. So I get y equals 2/3 x plus 3. So my slope is the number with the x, which would be 2/3. And my y-intercept would be 3. Number 4. Ooh, this is an interesting one. Y is already by itself, but there is no x. So I wonder what you did. This is kind of a tricky question because there's only a y. You might want to think of this as y equals 0x plus 6. Because there's no x, then the number has to be 0 because the x goes away. And so the slope for this one would be 0, and the y-intercept would be 6. On number 5, x equals negative 3, that's a unique line. Oh, well, we should talk about this one. Anytime you have y equals a number, That's a horizontal line. And horizontal lines always have slope of 0. Now, knowing that, you could probably answer this one. X equals is also a special type of line. It's a vertical line. Anytime you only have an X with a number, it's a vertical line. And vertical lines have a slope that is undefined. The slope is undefined. Okay, so that's how you do those 5 problems. And those will always be the case for those ones. If you ever have a y equals a number, it's going to be a slope of 0. And anytime you have x equals a number, it's going to be undefined. Okay, thanks for watching this refresher video on how to calculate slope when you're given an equation of a line.